Good afternoon, lovely Cardinia Shire residents. It's Friday and it's the weekend. Hurrah! Aren't we all happy? And aren't we all happy that we've got homes and houses that have heating? And I'm particularly glad that I'm putting my oven on tonight to show you how to make a cozy oven bake from some drumsticks and root vegetables with a stir-fried green. And you know, don't we all love the feeling when the oven goes on and the house goes warm and smells nice? So I'm just quickly showing you what's on the menu. So I've got some drumsticks in here. I've just taken them out of the pack and put them in my grandmother's lovely enamel dish with a lid that I have inherited from her. Thank you, Omi. And that will be accompanied by these lovely guys: sweet potato, a bit of carrot, onion, potatoes, rosemary, and I'm going to slaughter this pumpkin. And I saw Span asking as to what the pumpkin is. I actually don't know. It may be a self-seeded one. But you know, I cut it, and you're welcome to half of it after or sometime tomorrow. Just drop in and I'm happy to share that with you. And then this morning I went out on my bike to harvest yet another sink full of greens and purples. I'm going to chat about those and what they can do for you, to put into our stir fry with a bit of tamari soy sauce, sesame seeds, garlic, and these interesting little black chilies that I've got growing in my garden. Garlic courtesy of Orchard and Farm in Bales. Thank you, Sue and Tony. And that was home delivered too. Mwah! Okay, so beginning with what needs to go in the oven first, because it'll take about 40 minutes or so to roast all together. So I've got my 7 drumsticks in here, and I'm simply going to roughly chop the carrots and all the other veggies. The trick is to sort of have similar size, equaling to similar cooking time, so that one veggie is not mushier than the other. So peeling our onion. So the other reason, or you may notice that the dish is quite contrasted in color. So we've got the orangey, yellow, browny veggies going into the roasting pan, and our lovely greens and purples will go into the wok and be just very quickly kind of flash fried in there. A good reason to cook all your orangey vegetables is that those carotenoids that live in there are much better absorbed when they're cooked. And I'm not saying you're never ever to eat a carrot that is just grated in a grated apple and carrot salad, because that's just simply yummy, or in a grated beetroot and carrot in a beta salad. That is delicious as well. But I just want to advocate for cooking your food different ways. Some raw, some cooked, because all has got pluses in preparation, as I just said. So I cut the onion in 1/8. Onion really cooks slow, and what I'll do, I just dump it into my roasting dish here, and then I'll put the spices over, give it all a wild mix, and then put it in the oven with the lid on. So I've got medium-sized Thorpedale potatoes here. So good! Local potatoes, and I chop them into thick wedges, so that they kind of equal the same cooking time than my drumsticks. As I said before, my oven is a bit... Hello, Elisa. Thank you for bringing my chickens back. They must have been on a wild run. Sorry about that. While I was out. Yeah, so it's trying to achieve a similar cooking time is the trick. So here I've got, look at the color of this beautiful sweet potato that I found, and these I will just sort of cut into rounds. That should work. I think that'll do. I'll leave a little bit left over for the next project. And now slaughtering the pumpkin. So you go in to the center, and then you try to break this down. And I will just go for some 1/4 or 1/8 here. Oh, look at it, that's gorgeous. And what I do, I save the seeds, I dry them, spice them with all sorts of different spice mixes, and roast them. They make actually really nice snacks. I've got some left over from my last batch, not too many. And when I roast something else, I just put them in into the oven with that something else to save on gas, and just use the the oven that is already on. And yeah, you can just go. I recommend just try out some mixes. Look at your spice rack, see what speaks to you, and just use that. So this is all I'm going to use out of the pumpkin. And when I speak with people and they find out I'm a nutritionist, I typically get asked the question, what is a superfood, or what is the vegetable that I ought to be eating? And people sort of often ask, is it the acai berry, or another weird and wonderful berry from a far away place? And I always say, look, I really think all our homegrown vegetables, particularly something like a pumpkin, which is brimming with carotenoids and readily available, and it stores so beautifully. To me, that is a superfood, because it provides antioxidants that are beneficial for all your body systems. Yeah, so it's a good choice. It's cheap too. I haven't bought a pumpkin, but I never found them to be. I haven't bought a pumpkin in a while, because in summer I don't buy them because I grow other stuff. And now I've got them. Here's the phone. This is my daughter. She's obviously not watching me on Facebook. Sorry about the ringing noise there. I will just have to call her back. So I think that'll do. So I've got some beautiful veggies in there with the drumsticks. Now what I'll do is another super herb. Sorry, the old pumpkin seeds, is our rosemary, and I just plucked that out of my garden. Often, if you don't have a garden, and you look up what rosemary looks like, in case you don't know, because not all of us are gardeners and recognize foods, and that's nothing to be worried about. You just look it up on Google, and then you will find them everywhere, because they often grow around older train stations or in community gardens, and it's always profuse. I've never not seen rosemary thrive. It's one of those herbs that just thrive readily. Okay, now we've got onions, all the veggies in there, and I'm going to spice them with a teaspoon of powdered turmeric, because turmeric has been now tried in so many intervention clinical trials, and the benefits of it are absolutely phenomenal. I'm also going to put in, I should say what they are, for example, so that it has shown efficacy in dementia, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, in all matter of inflammatory diseases. That was paprika and cayenne pepper, and in rheumatoid arthritis there are studies, and interestingly I just read a clinical, or I listened to a podcast of a clinician, and he found, and I'm finding the same, that using turmeric in your cooking is actually more reliable than as a supplement. So there you go, teaspoon of turmeric, in it goes. And then I've got a small teaspoon of sea salt, and I'm just grabbing my pepper. Peppers on our dinner table, so I just had to grab it. You should always add some pepper and oil and excuse me, and heat your turmeric, because it activates and makes it more readily absorbable. So I'll just move this a little bit, might be better. I am adding I just feel like another oil. Often I use olive oil, or sometimes I use lard. Tonight I'm using macadamia oil. And I'm going to just use the tongs to give this all a bit of a stir. And then I shall put the lid on and put it in the oven. After about 25 minutes or so, I will take the lid off and then just give it another stir. Put the drumsticks at the top with the skin up, so that the skin crisps up a little bit to make it more delicious. And please don't you ever throw the skin away, not from fish, not from any animal, because if you want beautiful skin, if you eat another animal's skin, I know it seems a bit weird, but you are actually eating all the nutrients to give yourself beautiful skin. So it looks something like that. There is your lovely rosemary, your onion, and everything like that mixed through. And here is the lid, and it goes in the oven. And if I forget, set my timer to 25 minutes so that I remember to stir and put the and take the lid off to crisp up those drumsticks. Very good. So next step. So this is taken care of. I'm using a really simple wok for my green leafy vegetables here. I like using a thin walled wok, which they're cheap, they're just iron. Important thing is, if you have one of these, to, after you've washed them, to immediately dry them and put a thin layer of oil on it to keep it from rusting. If it does rust, it doesn't matter, it's just iron, it's just a mineral and corrosion, but nothing to worry about. You just put a few drops of oil on your paper towel or a rag that you use for these purposes, and give it a wipe to take the majority of the rust off. So in our greens, the greens cook really fast, because they've got just the crunchy stems, and the leaves basically just need warming through and no cooking at all. So before I go ahead, I just quickly want to show you what I have. So while Max was not there, I raided his veggie patch out the front. I think this is tatsoi. However, I've never seen tatsoi that size. It is just monstrous, but it's new garden beds, and when you've got fresh soil, everything comes up really trumps initially. So that's going to go in, and then he's got this amazing purple mustard or some sort of Asian green, and this is like a wombok, but in purple. I mean, look at the colors. And purple color means anthocyanidins. I know, easy for me to say, but and this is why they say eat many colors over the week, and you don't have to eat the rainbow over each day. If you're one day more orange and the next day more purple, that's perfectly fine. So over the week is a good goal. So these proanthocyanidins are specific antioxidants that have efficacy, for example, for patients that have type 2 diabetes and their eyes, all the carotenoids help there as well. And cardiovascular blood vessels, for example, can be supported with these purple colors. What else have we got? We've got Maizuna. That's a beautiful salad, and for the stir fry, I will just use the stems because in a salad, I mean, they're quite crunchy and chewy, but I prefer just the greens. So I just put the stems and slightly stir fry them or wok them very, very briefly only. What else have I got? Oh yes, and I've got this Wombok in, oh, look at the color, in green as well. And was there anything? Oh yes, I've got this amazingly interesting red stemmed celery leaf that I'll put in there, and this awesome a few leaves of rainbow chard. And again, different antioxidants, red to yellow to pink and to white, but all beneficial. So have a if you can, grow some rainbow chard, and it looks so beautiful when the morning sun. This morning was so cold, and you've got all the dewdrops on there, and you've got this color shining through this this stem. Just looks magnificent. Very good. Yep. So what I'll do first is, oh yes, one green, where did I put it? Oh, there. That you may have not cooked with is this guy. It comes with this flower. Anyone knows what this is? And if you don't, you want to get this book out from the library, the Wheat Forager's Handbook, written by two Melburnians by the name of Adam Grubb and Annie Razor Rowland. And they will point out some free foraging weeds that are incredibly healthy, and as I said, free. So dandelion, that is, did somebody guess that? No. The dandelion is quite bitter, so if you have a little bit or even eat the flower, it's quite strongly bitter. So I will just chop a few of the leaves up and toss them through my greens for this effect of bitterness on our liver. The liver loves bitter and gives you more bile, you have better fat digestion, but most importantly, that bile kills parasites as well, so you want to have good bile secretions. So first off, chop up some garlic, give it a squeeze so you can easily take the peel off, and I'm gonna be using, normally I'd be using sesame oil for it as well, but I have run out of sesame oil and I forgot to buy some, so I will just do it in the macadamia oil as well. But I will put sesame seeds in instead to get a bit of that good sesame flavor. And it looks cute with the sesame seeds in all those grains as well. Very good. There's my garlic peeled. Terrific. And got my oil. Turn on my flame. And as I said, a thin walled wok is pretty much hot in a flash. I add in a little bit of oil, chop my garlic, and then it's basically just chop, 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 and you put all your things in after the other. Put the more thick-walled veggies in first. So it's important that you've got them washed, ready to go. So you can already hear this sizzle, and in goes my celery. I put the celery in. It has something called apigenin, the same similar substance, or the same substance as is in your parsley, and I put just the parsley stems in here. and I leave the parsley leaf to decorate my oven veggies later. Good. It's done already. So I just go with all my lovely veggies here, and you will see how they all melt together. Oh, I forgot, I withheld the fact that I've got a little bit of kale here as well, which I shall chop through and put in. So that harder stem bits first. Kale is really, it belongs to the family of your cabbage vegetables, and cabbage is incredibly an incredibly powerful hormone modulator, and may help in conditions such as hot flushes and menopausal complaints, and it also helps the liver to detox, which is not to be underestimated. Really, really useful, and grows really easily as well. One kale plant and can grow for more than a year, I found. Okay, some more of these Lombok leaves. The white part of these Lombok leaves is so crunchy, crispy. It's most amazing. And in goes my lovely rainbow chard stems. Because they're a bit thicker, I'll put them in first to make sure that they are a bit softened. Beautiful. Put some more of these. Oh, look at the color. It looks pretty exotic, doesn't it? Thank you, Max. I thoroughly enjoy these awesome veggies. That goes in there, and now I put in my Zuna stems and retain the leaves for sandwiches, or what else do I use them for? Yeah, just salads. So in goes the stems, and I keep these lovely leaves for a later project in the fridge. Okay, now I'll chop up these humongous tatsoi leaves. And again, use the stems first and keep the leaf bits to the side. I might work better with my arms. Smells good. I smell this garlic. Okay, I think that'll do. And now I'm finding my lovely dandelion leaves, just a small handful, so as not to make it too bitter. And then I throw in the other leaves as well, and let this. Then I add the tamari and sesame seeds. I don't like to put the sesame seeds in too early because they readily burn. They're just tiny seeds, and I don't want them to burn. So that goes in. Give your soy sauce or whatever sauce you're using. It's always a good idea to give them a bit of a shake. So good for 3-4 tablespoons, because we've got a whole lot of bland tasting leaves in here, and they need a little bit of salt to come into their own right and to actually taste nice together with your lovely garlic flavor in there. I've got 1 really large garlic clove and 1 small garlic clove, and that's plenty to flavor all these lovely leaves. And you'll see in a minute with the soy sauce how quickly they reduce. The salt in the soy sauce makes pulls the water out of the cells of the veggies and makes them fall together because they lose their structure. Sesame seeds, about 2 tablespoons. And they make they just make it look so pretty. Look at it. Doesn't it? So it won't need much more cooking. And we are 25, we're 10, 12, 13 minutes into the cook. Normally I would start the leafy veggies a bit later to time it with the finish of what I have in the oven. But for demonstrating purposes, I don't want to wait so long. So I'm just showing you how this is done. And then I shall take a photo as I take the pot out of the oven. And then I show you how I give it a, how it looks when it's stirred with the drumsticks over the top. And yeah, we're good. We will be good. Nutty, aromatic, salty, and it just begins to soften. So it needs another minute and a half. And then it'll all be cooked. So I turn this down now because I will reheat it when the other veggies are ready, because I don't want to overcook it now. And then I'll once everything is ready, I'll serve it. Put my lovely parsley on the top. We'll decorate it with a dandelion flower so it looks pretty. And we'll have and I may even chop up some of these beautiful radish that are also nicked out of Max's garden. Thank you so much, Max. So awesome. And make it look pretty. And have a lovely Friday night. And I hope you will too. Lovely to see that there's 17 people switched on in. And I hope to see you soon. Have a good one. Ciao.